This is an imaginary journey through history made by the young Saudi Assaf and James, in which they traveled for decades in their imagination.
الله الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أصبحنا نؤمن بالله ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
Asaf,
Yes,
have you finished your dawn prayer?
yes, I have. And now let's have a cup of coffee. Then we can begin our journey to Riyadh.
Okay.
Do you wake up early as we do?
I have become a part of this country and its culture. Have you heard the people's complaints nowadays?
What do they say?
They complain that there is no security and tribal conflicts. They wish that the rule of Al Saud come back again.
Oh God, let that be. Who doesn't wish that to happen?
Yes, God is hearing all the country asking Him to rescue them from this situation. This is a country of very hard landscapes, with very little resources and circled by desert from all sides. Its people are simple and they have much Islamic and Arabian values, but conflicts and prevailing conditions were against them. No securities, fear of prevailing, and much unrest and disorder.
Oh, look at the beauty of the desert.
Yes. This is the reason why I accepted to have this journey through the history in your country
We lived here together a period of time with no stability.
until Abdulaziz came.
Thanks God for this coming.
It is the day of the 5th of Shawwal, 1319 in the Hijra calendar, corresponding to January 15th, 1902. It is the historical day in which the descendant of the Al Saud family, Abdulaziz ibn Abdurrahman ibn Faisal Al Saud, returned to Riyadh, back to the throne of his ascendants, to begin a new era of the Saudi reign. And this event is considered a very significant change in history, where a modern Saudi estate was established and was able to unify most of the Arabian Peninsula and accomplish creating big civilization achievements in many areas.
Things changed very much since Abdulaziz arrived.
Yes, He initiated the rehabilitation of the state and gained the loyalty of the land and people to the family of Al Saud. And as you know, they had an ancient history and strong roots in the area, and people liked him very much and respect him in all parts of the Arabian island.
King Abdulaziz made great works, and he was able to recover security in all the country. And for the first time, the pilgrims could reach the holy Islamic areas in Mecca and Medina safely and comfortably. And like his ancestors, he took the straight Islamic methodology, and his priority was to serve Islam.
I can feel the happiness all over the country.
Yes, James, today is the 17th of Jamad al-Awwal, 1351 Hijriya.
Yeah.
On this day, King Abdulaziz issued a royal decree in which he declared the unification of the country and named it the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, starting from Thursday, the 21st, Jumad the 1st, 1351 in the Hijra calendar, corresponding to September the 23rd, 1932. This declaration was the result of the efforts of King Abdulaziz aiming to consolidate the country and incorporate a modern state complying with the principles and values of Islam. The efforts of King Abdulaziz to establish and build the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia included most political, administrative, economic, and social life characters. The king established the Hijr in order to gather the tribes and ensure an appropriate social environment to serve them and to improve their life and merge them into society. He extracted the greatest wealth of the country, changed the course of life and people from poverty to development and well-being. King Abdulaziz thanked God very much for this gift. King Abdulaziz concerned himself by organizing the estate, and he knew that the uprising of the country will not be accomplished without belief and then by education. That is why he ordered to establish the Directory of Education in 1344 in the Hijra calendar, 1925, and followed all the ways to support the infrastructure of the estate in all areas, for example, construction of roads, transportation, and communications.
Asaf, each phase of the history have a tragic moment and happy moment.
Yeah, it's a very sad day for great loss.
Yes, this country will miss King Abdulaziz and will never forget his achievement.
He is the great departed of the nation. He was deceased on Monday, the 2nd of Rabi' the 1st, 1373 on the Hijra calendar. He was preyed upon in Hawiyah and transferred by air to Riyadh, where he was buried with his ancestors of Al Saud. The inauguration transferred smoothly to his eldest son, King Saud, who entrusted the custodianship to his brother, His Highness Prince Faisal, and by cooperation of the two brothers, some local reformations and projects were achieved, like the Ministers' Council, the leadership of which was entrusted to Prince Faisal, and continuity of education growth, where the Education Directory was changed to the Ministry of Education, and His Highness Prince Fahd was appointed as the Minister of Education, and education improved greatly in quality and quantity. The construction growth increased, and the Holy Mosque in Mecca was extended and enlarged.
Do you know that in year 1384 Hijriya?
Which is about 1964, I think.
Yes, that's right. King Saud got very sick.
Yes, I know that. He decided to go abroad for treatment and to stay there.
And he sent to his brother Faisal, his crown prince, which was, I think, on 2nd of Ramadan, 1384, to declare his waiver from authority and to announce him as a king of Saudi Arabia.
In Dhul Hijjah, 1388 in the Hijra calendar, King Saud had deceased in Athens and was transferred to Mecca, where he was prayed upon and buried in Riyadh in Al Saud cemetery.
James, go.
Thanks. You know King Faisal is very experienced politician, and he astonished us in the West by his wisdom and foresight.
And we liked him very much, and we were influenced by his Islamic manner and his style of rule, specifically his closeness to his people.
King Faisal arose in a religious environment in his father's King Abdulaziz school. He attained his Sharia education from his grandfather, Sheikh Abdullah ibn Abdul Latif al-Sheikh. He participated with his father in many campaigns to consolidate the country in the reign of King Abdulaziz. He headed the delegation of his country in London's conference in 1358 in the Hijra calendar, which corresponds to 1939, known as the Circle Table, to discuss the Palestinian case. He also headed the delegation of Saudi Arabia in the United Nations Conference in San Francisco on the 25th of April in 1945. His Highness represented his country to sign a United Nations statement. Then he attended the conference of the Charter of the United Nations in Rajab, 1364 in the Hijra calendar, and signed on the behalf of King Abdulaziz. And in his era, he applied financial and administrative procedures that contributed in the stabilization of the kingdom. Also, the National University of King Abdulaziz merged to the estate, and the scientific colleges and institutes were transferred to a university, the Islamic University of Imam Muhammad bin Saud, and the College of Petroleum to the University of Petroleum and Minerals. In this era occurred the War of the 10th of Ramadan, 1393, which was the 6th of October in 1973, and the kingdom had an honorable stand physically and morally, supporting Arab countries that contributed in achieving victory. As King Abdulaziz considered the Palestinian case as his priority, also did King Faisal when his father, King Abdulaziz, appointed him to take this task since 1936, where he supported it till the end of his life.
إن هذا العدوان الذي يتمثل في احتلال أراضينا ومقدساتنا والعدوان على شعب من شعوبنا له السبب في أن يكون هناك بعض التوتر في العلاقات بين هذه البلاد وبين البلاد العربية والإسلامية.
King Faisal died on Tuesday the 13th, Rabi' the 1st, 1395 in the Hijra calendar, corresponding to the 25th of March, 1975. When he was killed, God forgive him, and he was replaced by his brother, King Khalid ibn Abdulaziz.
In spite that we had traveled through time for decades, but it seems accordingly short.
Also compared with the great achievements in the kingdom in these few years.
We are in King Khalid's era.
And he is a beloved king, the deep roots of his nation.
After the passing of his brother King Faisal al Saud, and all the Saudi nation inaugurated King Khalid as the king of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on Tuesday, the 13th of Rabi' the 1st. And His Highness Prince Fahd was inaugurated as entrusted custodian. King Khalid's era was characterized by economic welfare that contributed in the advancement of civilization and all public utilities, where the educational uprise witnessed the opening of the University of King Faisal in Dammam and al-Qura in Mecca. King Khalid paid much attention to some Arabian and Islamic cases, the outstanding of which is the Palestinian case. King Khalid died in Riyadh on the 21st of Sha'ban, 1402 in the Hijra calendar, corresponding to June 1982.
We now arrived to the era of King Fahd.
Yes, I believe that he is a graduate from King Abdulaziz school.
Yes, you are right. And he is a man with sharp vision and foresight, and he is a first-class politician as he served in a number of positions in the government until he became a king.
Of the most significant positions that Prince Fahd was the Ministry of Education. Then he was the Minister of Interior in 1382 in the Hijra calendar, corresponding to 1962, and Vice President in 1387, which corresponds to 1967, in addition to his position as the Minister of Interior. The custodian of the two holy mosques presented numerous achievements for Islam. On the top comes the project of the custodian of the two holy mosques, the construction of the two holy mosques and their enlargement for the holy mosque in Mecca to hold more than 1.5 million Muslims, and in Medina to hold more than 1,200,000. In addition to the construction to the adjacent areas of the holy mosques for pilgrims. In his era, he ordered to build the complex of the Holy Quran printing in the city of the Prophet Muhammad. This project's aim has many goals. First, to print the Quran in different sizes and types with a productivity capacity of 7 million copies per year. Second, to record the Quran in tapes with prominent reciters of Saudi Arabia and the Islamic world. He made the complex a specialized scientific center in Quran sciences. The most likely title for him was the custodian of the two holy mosques, and he was formally declared to replace the title His Majesty on the 24th of Safar, 1407 on the Hijra calendar. King Fahd stood a noble Arabian and confronted a lot of Arabian and Islamic cases with the priority of the Palestinian case as for political, physical, and moral support. He had a very significant role in liberating Kuwait. In his era, the country witnessed a great civilization uprise that extended to all areas of life, where education, construction, and industry had a great boom in quality and quantity. Also, there was a big agricultural promotion where the estate put a great effort to support the Ministry of Agriculture, especially in the growing of wheat. His time issued significant systems like rule, regions, and shura council systems.
Is the nature of life and the will of God on every living creature that after all his achievements, King Fahd died.
Yes, he left after he influenced the history and accomplished great achievement.
And in Jumad 2nd, 1426 in the Hijra calendar corresponding to August 2005, the royal chamber announced his death by His Highness Royal and Entrusted Custodian Prince Abdullah ibn Abdulaziz and all the royal family and behalf of the nation. The custodian of the two holy mosques, King Fahd ibn Abdulaziz, was preyed upon Tuesday the 26th Jumad the 2nd, 1426 in the Hijra calendar, after Asr prayer in Imam Turki ibn Abdullah Mosque in Riyadh.
What nice and beautiful scenes. I wonder if it is the same Riyadh in which we did begin our journey in history.
It's amazing,
It's a long journey
but full of lessons and achievements.
and easy transfer of authority from King Abdulaziz to King Abdullah, which astonished all the people.
King Abdullah ibn Abdulaziz was inaugurated as a king of Saudi Arabia. He declared Prince Sultan bin Abdulaziz as entrusted custodian according to the 5th article of the constitutional law. King Abdullah ibn Abdulaziz was born in Riyadh and grew up under his father, the founder of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. King Faisal selected him as the leader of the National Guard, and from there he started his achievements, where he reformed it according to the updated military methods. Then King Khalid issued a decree appointing him as second vice president. In the era of King Fahd, the entrusted custodian took great responsibilities. He also worked to modernize the estate and its constitutions. His concern with the country is great, so he initiated the national delegate through the meeting of Saudi political visions. And from this point, he established the center of King Abdulaziz for the national delegate. He sponsored the International Conference to Combat Terrorism in Riyadh in 2005. He is the most delegate, tolerant, and anti-extremity claimer. The conference refused the logic of civilizations, conflict, and assured that terrorism has no specific religion or nationality or geographical area. During his custodianship, he headed the High Economic Council, and the kingdom witnessed great economic reformations. He opened the kingdom to international investment, especially in the petroleum sector. In the beginning of 1997, he led the process of transferring public companies to private ones. Specific rules were issued for investment, and a public commission was formed. The High Council for Petroleum and Minerals was established, and Prince Abdullah at the time was appointed as the head of the council. The custodian of the two holy mosques declared in front of the people at the acceptance of inauguration the essential pivots, the Quran and the Sunnah. He also declared his commitment with the Saudi style in sponsoring the two holy mosques and the holy ceremonies. He also continued extending the two holy mosques and sponsoring the holy ceremonies like the Jamrat Bridge extension. He refused kissing of hands from people other than sons, in King Abdullah's words.
A simple man and a generous king.
That's exactly how people in Saudi Arabia see King Abdullah.
From the first day of his rule, he presented great things to his people.
King Abdullah increased the salaries of employees and soldiers and supported the service projects and retail estate and industrial loan funds.
I admire the human touch of King Abdullah.
It's his nature. He's the son of the desert. He's a good-hearted and humble person.
King Abdullah is known from the beginning with his open approach and is encouraging it. Like his meetings with all categories of the Saudi nation who want a resolve for their problems. King Abdullah is characterized by his humanitarian touches, and the kingdom occupied a distinguished position as the kingdom of humanity. The hospitals in the kingdom separated many twins successfully carried out by Saudi specialists of different specializations. King Abdullah adhered to visit the regions of the kingdom and mix with the simple people and join them, their hopes, and their ambitions. He is fond of meeting the national people in their own areas. He shows his great happiness in wandering among them and listening to them. He joined the people in their shows and folklore dances that expresses the Saudi culture, which he is proud to do so. King Abdullah visited some poor areas in Ramadan in 1423 in the Hijra calendar and touched the needs of poor people. This visit led to a comprehensive national attention to the poverty case. Yes, King Abdullah launched at Beirut Summit in 2002 an initiation adopted by the Arab League requesting the withdrawal of Israel from all lands occupied in 1967's war and the return of all Palestinian refugees and withdrawal from eastern Jerusalem. Now the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is witnessing the peak of its glory and development, and this King Abdullah standing beside his nationals supporting them by word and action for a glorious future in all areas of life.
King Abdulaziz, God bless you. You inherited the power, wisdom, and fairness to your sons, and they are going your way. And this will be the end of our journey, as I'm going my way. And James, he's going to continue his journey